What if one new law could suddenly put everyday gun owners at risk, without warning, without headlines, and without clear explanations? The truth is, when regulations shift, it's rarely the rare or exotic firearms that feel it first. It's the most common pistols, the ones millions of Americans already own. Today, we're counting down 7 everyday handguns that could quietly end up in the spotlight if laws change again. This video is for educational purposes only and does not promote harm or unsafe use of firearms. Number 7. Taurus GX4. The Taurus GX4 represents a category of pistols that often end up at the center of gun law conversations. Not because they're extreme, but because they're everywhere. Compact, affordable, and widely purchased by first-time and everyday carriers, the GX4 fits the profile of firearms most commonly affected when regulations tighten. When lawmakers talk about common carry pistols, this is exactly the type they mean. From a design standpoint, the GX4 delivers what modern buyers want: a slim frame, respectable capacity, and striker-fired simplicity. It's easy to conceal, easy to shoot, and accessible to a massive audience due to its price point. That popularity is a double-edged sword. The more common a firearm becomes, the more visible it is in policy discussions, especially when capacity limits, registration proposals, or feature-based rules are debated. The GX4 isn't controversial by itself. It doesn't look radical, it doesn't scream tactical, and it isn't marketed as extreme. But that's precisely why it's vulnerable in hypothetical regulatory shifts. Guns that blend into everyday carry culture are often the first people worry about when laws change, because they're owned by ordinary citizens in large numbers. In discussions around future gun laws, pistols like the Taurus GX4 remind owners why staying informed matters. Not panic, awareness. Because when rules change, it's usually the most common firearms that feel the impact first. Number 6. Springfield Hellcat Pro. The Springfield Hellcat Pro sits in a category that lawmakers and media discussions focus on constantly. High-capacity, slim-profile carry pistols that are extremely popular with everyday owners. It's not controversial because of how it looks. It's controversial because of how common it is. When conversations shift toward capacity limits or feature-based regulations, pistols like the Hellcat Pro naturally enter the spotlight. From a design perspective, the Hellcat Pro blends concealability with performance in a way that made it explode in popularity. It offers a longer grip, improved shootability, and modern ergonomics without moving into full-size territory. For many owners, it became the do-everything carry pistol. Easy to conceal, comfortable to shoot, and capable enough for range or defense use. That widespread adoption is exactly what makes it relevant in policy discussions. The optics-ready slide, modern capacity, and striker-fired simplicity align with current carry trends, which means the Hellcat Pro often gets grouped into broader conversations about modern handguns. Not because it's extreme, but because it represents where the market moved. When laws change, they rarely target obscure models. They affect the firearms people actually own. The Hellcat Pro highlights why informed ownership matters. Staying updated, understanding proposals, and following developments is far more effective than reacting emotionally. This pistol isn't a problem, but its popularity ensures it's always part of the conversation when regulations are discussed. Number 5. Smith & Wesson M&P9 Shield Plus. The Smith & Wesson M&P9 Shield Plus is one of the most widely carried pistols in America, and that alone keeps it at the center of every serious gun law conversation. This isn't a niche firearm or a specialty model. It's a mainstream concealed carry pistol trusted by millions of everyday owners. When discussions turn toward how proposed rules could affect typical gun owners, the Shield Plus often represents that category. What made the Shield Plus explode in popularity was its balance. It kept the slim, easy-to-carry profile of the original Shield while increasing capacity and improving the trigger feel. For many owners, it became the logical upgrade: familiar, reliable, and modern without feeling radical. That level of adoption is exactly what draws attention during policy debates, because laws tend to impact common platforms before rare ones. The Shield Plus also sits in the gray area that worries many owners: compact, modern, and designed for concealed carry. Not extreme in appearance, but modern enough to be grouped into broader regulatory discussions. It's a reminder that staying informed matters most for firearms people actually own and carry daily. Awareness, not panic, is what protects responsible ownership in changing times. Number 4. Glock 43 XMOS. The Glock 43 XMOS is a perfect example of how a simple, familiar platform can end up at the center of bigger conversations. It looks harmless, minimal, and practical, but that's exactly why it matters. This pistol is one of the most commonly owned slim-frame handguns in the US, especially among everyday carriers who want reliability without complexity. When discussions shift toward equipment features, optics-ready slides, or magazine capacity, the 43XMOS often gets mentioned because it represents modern carry norms. What makes the 43XMOS so popular is how balanced it feels. It's slim enough to conceal comfortably, yet large enough to shoot well under stress. Glock's reputation for reliability plays a huge role here. People trust this platform without hesitation. The MOS system adds red dot compatibility, which places the pistol squarely in the modern handgun category that lawmakers and analysts frequently reference when talking about evolving firearm technology. The Glock 43 XMOS isn't extreme, tactical-looking, or intimidating. It's ordinary, and that's the point. Ordinary pistols owned by millions tend to feel the effects of rule changes first. This model is a reminder that staying informed matters most for the firearms people actually carry every day, not just the ones seen online. Number 3. SIG Sauer P365X Macro. The SIG Sauer P365X Macro represents a shift in what many people now consider standard for everyday carry, and that's exactly why it keeps coming up in broader discussions. This pistol pushed the micro-compact category forward by combining a slim profile with higher capacity and modern features, all in a package that quickly became mainstream. When analysts or policymakers talk about how carry pistols have evolved, the X Macro often gets mentioned as an example of that change. What makes the X Macro stand out is how normal it feels despite its capability. It doesn't look aggressive or unusual, yet it offers features that were once limited to larger pistols. The grip length, capacity, and optics-ready design place it firmly in the modern carry era. That combination of popularity and capability is why pistols like this are frequently referenced in discussions about firearm trends. The X Macro isn't controversial on its own. It's popular because it works, not because it tries to shock anyone. But history shows that when rules are debated, attention usually falls on firearms that define the current market. For owners, the lesson isn't fear, it's awareness. Understanding how widely owned pistols fit into larger conversations helps people stay informed and prepared as laws and policies continue to evolve. Number 2. HKVP9. The HKVP9 is often described as a professional-grade pistol, and that reputation is exactly why it appears so frequently in broader gun law conversations. Widely owned by civilians and trusted by law enforcement, the VP9 sits at the intersection of everyday ownership and duty use. When discussions focus on service pistols that cross both worlds, this model is almost always part of the reference point. What makes the VP9 stand out is how approachable it is despite its serious pedigree. The ergonomics are excellent, the grip panels adapt to different hand sizes, and the pistol is easy to control even for less experienced shooters. Its striker-fired design, modern capacity, and optics-ready variants place it firmly in the category of contemporary handguns that define the current market rather than sitting on its edges. The VP9 doesn't look extreme, and it isn't marketed as controversial, but its popularity and widespread adoption mean it's frequently included when analysts talk about how common pistols are used, owned, and regulated. Historically, firearms that bridge civilian and professional use tend to draw more attention when policy discussions arise. For owners, the VP9 is a reminder that staying informed matters most for firearms that are widely trusted and commonly carried. Awareness, not alarm, is the smart response in an environment where conversations continue to evolve. Number 1. Glock 19. Gen 5. The Glock 19. Gen 5 sits at the very center of American gun ownership, and that's exactly why it's often mentioned when new gun laws are discussed. This pistol isn't famous because of hype. It's famous because it's everywhere. Law enforcement, civilian carriers, home defenders, and trainers have relied on the Glock 19 for decades, making it one of the most recognizable handguns in the country. When policymakers talk about commonly owned firearms, this model is usually the unspoken reference point. What keeps the Glock 19 relevant is its balance. It's compact enough to carry, large enough to shoot well, and simple enough that almost anyone can run it confidently. The Gen 5 updates refined the platform without changing its identity, improving ergonomics and consistency while maintaining the reliability Glock is known for. That consistency is why so many people trust it, and why it often becomes symbolic in broader debates. The Glock 19 Gen 5 isn't controversial by design. It's ordinary, proven, and familiar. But history shows that widely owned firearms tend to matter most when laws change. For owners, the takeaway isn't panic. It's staying informed, engaged, and aware of how discussions around common firearms continue to evolve. Outro. Laws may change, but informed owners stay ahead of the curve. These pistols weren't chosen to create fear. They were chosen because they're common, trusted, and widely owned. Stay aware, follow the facts, and make smart decisions. If this helped, like the video, subscribe, and stay informed.